Super Ted tomorrow at 4:10 on Children's BBC. Still to come with Blue Peter, but now it's time for John Craven's Newsround.
The sinking ship that's becoming a menace to Ireland's birds. Hello. Reports from Ireland say the cargo ship Kowloon Bridge is sinking fast with hundreds of tons of fuel oil still on board. A slick of oil from the ship has formed already, and there are growing fears for sea life in the area. Conservationists say many birds have already died because of pollution. Some have had to be put down because there's no hope for them once they're covered in the oil. The Irish government says reports of pollution from the ship, which is on Stag's Head Rocks, are greatly exaggerated. But as Helen Rollison reports, local conservation groups are mounting a massive rescue operation.
The Kowloon Bridge cargo ship drifted onto the Stag Head Rocks 12 days ago. She was carrying iron ore from Canada to Scotland. Also on board was 2,000 tons of oil. Rough seas have stopped attempts to tow her into harbour, and now she looks set to sink. It's thought that 700 tons of oil has already leaked out. The exact state and direction of the ore slick is not known, but what is clear is that over 1,000 birds have already suffered. A massive cleaning up operation is underway by the Irish Wild Bird Conservancy and the RSPCA. There have been similar clean-up operations in the past, but this one is more difficult because the type of oil leaking from the Kowloon Bridge is almost impossible to remove. The Old Head of Kinsale seabird colony near Cork reports that 90% of their kittiwakes have died. Guillemots and razorbills have also been affected. A full body count will be carried out at the weekend, so experts can find out which species have been worst hit. The cargo ship disaster has turned into a conservation nightmare.
One of Britain's top businessmen, Lord Rothschild, has written a dramatic letter to a daily newspaper. In it, he says he wants to put a stop to rumours that he helped to spy for the Russians. Lord Rothschild used to work for MI5, Britain's secret service, and he's been an important advisor to British prime ministers. His letter brings a new twist to the court case in Australia, where the British government is trying to ban a book written by another man who used to work for MI5. As we reported earlier this week, Peter Wright used to be a British spy. His book, Spycatcher, claims that some MI5 workers were in fact working for the Soviets. That's led to rumours about who those people could be. Lord Rothschild was mentioned in these rumours. He had worked for MI5 during the war. In his letter today, he says, "I never have been a Soviet agent," and he asked the head of MI5 to reveal the proof that he says will show he's innocent. Ever since these 3 British spies were caught helping the Russians after the Second World War, there's been a search for more British traitors who might have been involved with them. In 1979, this man, Sir Anthony Blunt, was identified as the 4th British spy working for the Russians. And then the rumours began that there was another double agent, the 5th man. It was because some people had said this was Lord Rothschild that he decided it was time to clear his name. Mrs. Thatcher was asked about Lord Rothschild in Parliament today. She said the government is studying the letter, but refused to say anything else. 750,000 children in Scotland missed lessons today because of a one-day strike by their teachers. Nearly all the members of Scotland's largest teaching union, the Educational Institute of Scotland, took action in protest at the government's pay offer. But the Scottish Secretary, Malcolm Rifkind, said that today's protest hasn't served any useful purpose. Many teachers taking part in today's action joined marches. This one in Edinburgh was attended by about 8,000 teachers, who then went on to one of the biggest rallies the unions ever held. Talks with employers and the government will start again just before Christmas. EIS leaders hope those will settle the present dispute. Efforts to get the first non-stop flight around the world off the ground are one step closer to success today. The strange-looking Voyager aircraft is about to begin its final test flight to make sure everything's all right for the record attempt. Voyager has already made many test flights, but technical problems have held up the journey, which starts in America. The aircraft has already broken the record for staying up in the air longer than any other plane. In today's test, Voyager is fully laden. The team need to find out how well it copes with a heavy load of fuel on board. If the test is a success, weathermen will tell the team when conditions are right for takeoff on their journey around the world. The team hope that will be sometime later this month. There's good news now for the loggerhead turtles in Turkey. As we reported on Tuesday, these ancient creatures are under threat in Europe. Their numbers have dropped alarmingly because they're disturbed by noisy tourists and discos on the beaches in Greece where they breed. There were fears that a tourist development planned for Dalyan in Turkey could endanger the turtles even more, but they should now be safe there. Building on the beach at Dalyan will only go ahead if developers can ensure the turtles won't be disturbed. At a meeting of wildlife experts from 16 countries, the Turks agreed that beaches where the turtles lay their eggs will be fenced off from holidaymakers. Artificial lights, which might confuse the animals, won't be allowed. This means that when the baby turtles hatch, they should find it simple to head towards the sea and safety. It's not yet known whether the Greeks have made any plans to protect the turtles on their beaches. People who want to buy certain types of chocolates as Christmas presents are being advised to leave it until the last minute. The chocolates are usually called continental style, and they've become very popular in the last few years. They're rich and creamy, with fillings made from fresh cream or butter. Food experts who've done a special survey about chocolates are worried that this kind don't stay fresh for very long. They say there should be a list of what's inside the chocolates on the outside of the boxes, and a date showing when the chocolates should be eaten by. And finally tonight, if you're just about to have sandwiches for tea, you might be interested in the record that's just been set in America for the world's longest sandwich. It took 20 teams of 3 people to put the sandwich together. The piles of fillings lay at their many fingertips alongside the giant loaf. People came to watch and to buy pieces of the sandwich for charity when it was finished. The speedy sandwich makers stacked on over 100 kilos of meat and cheese. They also used 24 lettuces and 80 tomatoes. The whole operation took them just 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Then it was time to measure the results to check the sandwich would make it into the Guinness Book of World Records. And the man with a tape measure was happy to say the sandwich was a record-breaking 66 metres long. And that's all from Newsround tonight. John will be back tomorrow. From me, for now, bye-bye.
Crumbs. Well, I wonder how much bread they made.